You know, as a collector of sorts, I often find myself trying to always get the most special outcomes for any game I play. This can mean making sure I marry the best choice in Fire Emblem, obtaining the Bigoron sword and ice arrows in every playthrough of Ocarina of Time, and when it comes to Pokemon, adding a certain type of Pokemon to my team each generation. You see, ever since Generation 2, Game Freak has created certain random encounters that can only be described as winning the Poké Lottery. Originally a result of specific IV combinations, which are a whole other thing that I am not going to tackle right now, obtaining a different colored or shiny Pokemon in the wild is normally limited to a 1 in 8,192 random chance encounter. Since then, Game Freak has given trainers various ways to increase these odds, but in the end, finding one of these gifts is still often the highlight of any player's game, and it can't be overstated enough the emotions that you will feel when you accidentally stumble onto one of these different creatures. And that's the effect of shiny Pokemon in general. Whether they're as different as Hypno or as unspectacular as a Pikachu, they always feel special, and today, I'll be taking a look at my top 10 favorite shiny pocket monsters. You ready? This is a very popular choice when it comes to these types of lists, and for the most part, I'll try to be a little more original with my choices, but there's a reason Trevenant makes this countdown. The typing and design alone were always very cool in my opinion, but I always felt that the coloring was a little too reminiscent of Sudowoodo for my taste. However, emphasizing its ghost typing with this red and white color scheme really helps set this shiny apart. Gen 6 is known for many things in the Pokemon community, and one of them is how they finally got shinies so right, and Trevenant is a perfect example of this. Speaking of Gen 6, yeah, I know, it's once again an obvious pick, but you have to admit that this version of Greninja just looks so much cooler than the friendlier blue version. Greninja is both a water and dark type, and with this black and red balance, you really begin to notice the latter. He looks like a ninja in the best way possible, and just outclasses his Gen 6 counterparts by being so sleek and minimal. Sometimes less is more, and in the case of shiny Greninja, this definitely holds true. This will likely be the most controversial pick on my list, but hey, controversy creates discussion, so let's get on with my reasonings. I have no opinion of Voltorb. I'm perfectly apathetic about him and his maybe brilliant, maybe lazy design, and have never even attempted to add one to my team. But I am very familiar with the original red and white Pokeball. This logo of sorts has been a constant in my life since I can remember, and is just another iconic design in a series full of them. In fact, the Pokeball design is so familiar that seeing any variation of it immediately garners attention. And with this blue palette swap, Voltorb immediately draws gasps from anyone who sees it. I personally traded for one in my Pokemon White playthrough, and I have to say that, to this day, it was the best shiny design in terms of pure shock value. With the shiny Voltorb, you could always tell the trainers who had never even seen a different colored Pokemon before, because the shock of seeing a bright blue Pokeball with eyes was always apparent on their face. However, it really doesn't have the same impact as an Electrode. It's not the best Gen 1 shiny, but it is definitely the most jarring, and for that, shiny Voltorb makes this list. From a forgotten creature to one of the most popular, this list will hopefully keep you on your toes, and Lucario's shiny design is certainly exciting. I love the yellow fur with blue features, and this is one of the few that I have to chalk up to raw appeal. The new coloring does absolutely nothing to emphasize a typing or play into a theme or a theory. It just simply looks cool, and really stands out amongst the regular version, which is sometimes all you need from a great shiny design. I have no idea what makes me like this shiny design so much, but I can certainly try to explain it. Sigilyph is kind of like Voltorb in the way that it has no personal connection to me. Unlike Voltorb though, I actually enjoy the original design, it's just there's something about the warmer color scheme that I prefer. It doesn't scream psychic type, but its face is more subdued while the wings really draw you in, which is something I appreciate. I've never had one on my team, but if I ever do manage to find one in the wild, you can bet I'll be Sigilyphed to paradise. Who is writing this script? Ampharos is not only a legitimately great electric type on any team, but also looks absolutely fabulous, rocking pink better than Kimberly herself. This is one of those designs that stands out completely from the usual form, and somehow actually makes a pink electric dragon lamb look badass. The blue tail and forehead jewel also look great together, and this color scheme works so well, you'd probably be forgiven if you just assumed it was a female form. I've never had one in any playthrough despite trying, as I love the original Pokemon already. But hopefully, next generation, I'll be lucky enough to add this gorgeous creature to my team. Just imagine whooping your rival with this pink god of destruction. And don't even get me started on Mega Shiny Ampharos. Bug types are often the laughingstock of the Pokemon metagame, and even some great additions in the past 2 generations haven't really helped this type thrive. However, one of my personal favorite designs to come out of the spectacular Generation 5 was a Selgor. This Pokemon sort of looks like a ghostly superhero, with a vibrant mask adorning its head, but it's only when you see a shiny one do you truly appreciate how badass this Pokemon looks. The subdued smoke-like body and the golden-orange mask with bright pink markings really stand out on this type of Pokemon, and let any challengers know that they should prepare for trouble. Admittedly, this is just another entry that made the list for aesthetic purposes, but once in a while you get a shiny Pokemon that trumps its original design in every way possible, and a Selgor is a perfect example of that. Okay, here it is, the absolute bias. But I'll actually try to explain why I believe my favorite Pokemon, Umbreon, is deserving of the number 3 spot on this list. If you search any Pokemon on Google, this will be one of the first results, as Shiny Umbreon is easily one of the most popular shinies ever since Generation 2. And I think it's because it really invokes all of the criteria I've mentioned so far on this list. Firstly, its main color scheme is subtle. Instead of pitch black, it's a touch lighter, but overall nothing too crazy. It's only when you change the traditionally yellow rings to a bright blue shade that this design really begins to pop. Umbreon is synonymous in the Pokemon mythos with nighttime, and I always found it really odd that they chose yellow, as it has such an association with daylight as a color. The blue rings on black fur design does away with this criticism, and the bright yellow eyes really just bring this perfect design together. Biased? Yeah, obviously, but still, I don't think anyone can disagree that Shiny Umbreon just looks so much sleeker than its regular palette, and that's good enough for number 3. Wow, we've actually gotten pretty far with no more Gen 6 representation. Better change that quick. But seriously, Helioptile is one of my favorite Pokemon from the beauty that is Generation 6. The hat-like design on its head, its dry skin ability that makes it a great electric type for any playthrough, and those bright blue eyes. This electric type is powerful and adorable and looks great to boot. So when I accidentally caught a red one in the wild, I knew that it was a big deal, even as far as shiny encounters go. The blood red body is so striking, and the yellow aesthetics on its forehead and ears complete the look. I admit that there's still possibly more bias with this pick, but to this day it's still my favorite shiny I've ever caught, and I refuse to use a Sunstone on this bold Pokemon for more than one reason. Gen 6 introduced probably the 2 best fossil Pokemon since the original in Amora and Tyrunt, and regardless of which one you chose for your adventure, we can all agree that they both are great additions to any team. That being said, I personally believe that Tyrunt and more so Tyrantrum are the far superior Pokemon for any playthrough. I mean, sure, Amora is a very cute design, but overall the Tyrunt line is just more powerful, and can be an absolute staple when taking on the Elite Four. But that's right, number 1 may even be more controversial than Voltorb. I mean, there are over 700 Pokemon, all with a shiny form, so why does a very new, very average Pokemon top this list? Well, there's a few reasons. Firstly, Amora has a very specific look. I mean, There are others who have similar elements, but overall, there is no mistaking this monster with any other. So yeah, it wins for originality. Secondly, it's an ice type, and as good as that cool blue coloring looks, there's just something absolutely fitting about that pure snow-like scheme on the shiny version that makes this the clear winner. That with the subdued blue and pink elements used sparingly make this design one of my favorites for how simple it is. And finally we have the odds. To obtain a legitimate shiny Amora, you have to either be so lucky that when you convert your fossil, you get one right away, or you'll be soft resetting for an entire day. Back in Gen 2 and Gen 3 days, obtaining a shiny Pokemon made you feel beyond special, practically original, because you could be sure that nobody else would have that specific Pokemon. It allowed you to form a special bond that has likely still lasted until the new gens with that specific Pokemon design. But nowadays with Game Freak introducing things like shiny ribbons and friend safaris that can positively influence your chances, finding a shiny in the wild or in an egg just isn't quite as powerful as it once was. But this is why Amora is different. Not only is it one of the best designs across all 6 generations, but in each game, there's only one. You can't just run around in a friend safari until you find one. You get one shot, and you either have to win the lottery or sacrifice so much time just at a chance of receiving one. It makes it a little harder to obtain, even among shinies, and it's all 3 of these reasons combined that make Amora my top pick for the best shiny ever. Thank you for watching. Enjoyed this video on my top 10 favorite shiny Pokemon. Did any of mine line up with yours? Have any additions you think I should have included? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Random10s if you want to get a hold of us or talk about anything Pokemon. And as always, make sure you share this video if you got any enjoyment out of it. That's the thing that helps this channel grow the most. So, thanks for watching and happy shiny hunting, baby rhinos. Sir, the video has been uploaded as you asked.
Good work, Stan.
Sir, do you think they'll catch on? You know, to the project in July?
No, they have no idea what's about to happen. But they will.